Happy Sunday to all of you guys out there. Thank you for joining me today on The American's Voice, and I am your cyber host, Yanni. So excited to have you guys here with me today, and a lot of things we're going to cover. Obviously, second week in the podcast. Last week we did very, very well. Thanks everyone for your support out there. It is really amazing how social media used the proper way is so effective, and it creates so many avenues and doors to be open. So kudos to everyone who uses social media in an effective, proper way. And all that good stuff. Had a fantastic week, and I've been chomping at the bit all week to get on this microphone, in front of this microphone, and find more ways to be impactful to you listeners, to find more ways to open the mindset, to change the dynamic of the thinking, and to really get everyone roused up, because this is truly a dangerous time we're living in. And, about 100 or so days, or probably almost less than 100 days from now, we will be electing the president of the United States of America. And so everyone needs to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And they say, well, people don't really start paying attention about September. We need to pay attention right now. So some of those things have been on my mind all throughout the week. Also with the turn of events as well. Before we get started, though, I want to, have a little housekeeping here, just to let everyone know that you can also find episodes of this show on SoundCloud, on the SoundCloud platform as well, under The American's Voice and Yanni, just like on the YouTube podcast as well. And also, if you want to send comments or suggestions or, even feedback, sometimes we want to send mailbags of hate. We might have to create one of those one day, because of, obviously, the lefties get pretty upset by the things that I say. But hey, I'm an equal opportunity offender, whether you're left or right. If you're right and you're saying something wrong and you're on the right, I'm going to let you have it too. But you can also send me an email at americasheartbeat@yahoo.com, americasheartbeat@yahoo.com. And you can also find me at Twitter. Send me a tweet over there too, is at America's Heartbeat, at America's Heartbeat 1. That's on Twitter. So, we got a lot to get to, and really excited just about this, being available right now to be that avenue, being available right now to be a voice in a world that seems like it's in turmoil. That's what the media would have you think. But it's really a small amount of people that's causing all the ruckus, right? They just move around a lot. They move around a lot. Negative people. But, it's serious, because depending on who we elect, these things are either going to be amplified or they're going to be silenced. And the responsibility of any average American that has a thinking brain, you look at your country attempting to be pushed off a cliff, and man, I'm on fire right now. And like I said, I've been chomping at the bit all week. You can't sit passive. You got to get activated. This is a big deal. I look at my son every single day, and we have to fight for the future of not just our own children, but the children of this country. So, I'm still reading up on this Obama and Biden policy, but Friday's show, Mark Levin was very intentional in one of his segments. He was talking about the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Regulations Act that Obama and Biden had put into place right before they left. And what he was touching on, like I said, very, very intentional in his wording and everything, how intense he was. The message sounded focused and laser-eyed. He said, you have to You should, whether you have to DVR it, watch Life, Liberty, and Levin on Fox Sunday, which is 7/26/2020 today. I'll be watching the show myself, and I do encourage everyone to check out Life, Liberty, and Levin so we can get this movement moving further. Stanley Kurtz will be on with him, will be his guest. So check it out and DVR it on Fox. Just a shout out for Mark Levin and passing information out to the public of Warriors. Some headlines here. We got some updates on two of our favorite mayors in the United States of America. Article 1, Chicago's mayor, and Article 2, the Portland mayor. Just looking at so many things I've never seen before in my life. The news moving like the news moves. It is a constant entity, growing, festering, and it's like squirrel moments. Squirrel, and something else happens, and something else happens, and we've become news junkies. Get the endorphins going, the dopamine, heart gets to beating real hard because you just gotta get that article, you gotta get that news. And many years ago, I stopped paying attention to the tabloids, and for a reason. But an update on our mayors. Our mayor of Chicago, I know the last time we were talking, she was resisting and she was kicking and fighting against the goads, which is one of the rare occasions I support the United States federal government getting involved in an altercation to make it cease or die down. But she was kicking against the help. Fast forward. Trump's going to come in anyway. Boy, that Trump is a cold dude. Whether you're a lefty, hi guys, or if you're a Democrat, hello. Any Democrats out there? Or if you're conservative or on the right, deep right, we're all Americans. And the protection of the American citizen is first and foremost one of the responsibilities of the president. You'd agree with me on that, wouldn't you? If you were the president of the United States, wouldn't you want the same respect? Wouldn't you want the same caliber of reverence to the position? Wouldn't you like to be in that position, holding the highest position in the land, and not be subject to being spied on? Not being subject to being bashed continually with the pretend networks, I call them. They're like make-believe. And I could just tear them to shreds, but I choose not to. CNN, MSNBC, ABC. Let's call them the alphabet networks. We make a little puzzle, move the M over there. The M looks fine right over there. No, I want the C there. You see them fighting over where they're moving the letters amongst each other. That'd be hilarious. But fast forward, the mayor of Chicago grudgingly takes help from the United States government. I am here to be a firewall of sorts in a sea of other firewalls. That is conservative talk radio, uncommon sense talk radio. I'm going to do my part to make sure that we have the right person who understands the current pandemic we're dealing with, who understands the current economy we have and how to rebuild it. Guys, look, it's just common sense. Whether you're left or right, and I want to just walk down the middle with this comment, because me being independent in my thinking, even in my voting, if I got someone that's a Democrat, that don't exist anymore, but if I wanted to vote for a Democrat that's gone extinct like the way of the dodo bird, I'd make that vote. But clearly in the field here, how many candidates running for president they have on that side? Was it like 20? There's a sea of them. I would choose that side. But I'm going to continue to talk about these mayors that have had a chance to do what's right, but they're showing a dereliction of duty. And they're not serving the American public, especially those in Chicago, especially if you're out there and you have no protection with the strict gun laws. We're going to serve warrants on those guys as soon as I get back. Thank you for hanging with me on the America's Voice and Yanni. Be right back.
Before you disappear, before you twist the knife, I leave my panic here, 'cause I'm in overdrive. You release your shape upon the floor, I try. Will you put your weight behind the words I said?
Totally in the right place at the right time. The American's Voice and Yanni. Boy, was that first segment packed. Went a little long there, but that's okay. We are here and we are surfing totally for sure. And we are making an impact in the world, no doubt about it. One person at a time, one mind at a time. Doing the Vulcan Mind Meld with you guys out here in radio world. Or the radios obviously are in the form of iPods or iPads or iPhones or Samsung devices. But it's all the same. There are radio waves that are going into your ears, intruding your space, invading your privacy. But going back to what we were talking about, dismantling these mayors. Because I think about my actions. What would my actions be as a mayor? If I know that something has gotten out of control, kind of like a disease, kind of like a virus. And for you guys that never Trumpers out there, I love talking to you guys too. Because you guys are part of the problem. Undermining the president, undermining the American citizen, undermining everyone that voted for him, even undermining everyone that hated him or still currently hates him. And you say, how could that be? Well, I'm trying to do the same thing. I can't stand him either. Well, we're in the same country, and our leaders, for them to be effective, there has to be order, not chaos. But back to these mayors here. So she's had a change of heart. But look at the damage. I mean, was she laying in her bed at night just saying, oh man, the president was so gracious and allowing me to just take all the help I need, and but I think I'm asked for help. You think she's laying in bed saying, all these great citizens in my city, I have an obligation and a duty to take care of them. And so, I'm going to take the help from the president. Now, you guys, I told you before, this is one of the few occasions where I believe that the United States government should get involved and put their hands in the situation to where we can get it under control. And, or maybe she was laying in her bed and she was just like, you know what? I desire to be the best mayor that Chicago has ever had. And I'm going to do right by the people. This black on black killing has been going on long enough. I'm going to call the president. And I'm going to invite him to allow his federal agents into my city. Because those darn troopers, those darn federal agents are going to help us get this under control. That's not what happened. This is what happened. When the rioters and looters showed up in the vicinity of her neighborhood, i.e. in front of her house, now it comes to home. It's right there at the front door. You can't escape it. Oh, we better get some help here. And you people in suburban areas, suburbia, high class, middle class, and some of the people that got lucky and fell and stumbled off into suburbia, you're like one of those gray boys or whatever they call them. Don't think they won't come for you. And so a vote for the wrong person, a vote for Joe Biden is going to bring this to you. Those types of neighborhoods, they don't want the United States of America to be separated. They want the United States of America to have a one-size-fits-all approach to everything. So this mayor, she took the help because it was at her front door. But look at all the holding out she was doing until then. Monday, 25 shot, 12 dead. Tuesday, 23 shot, 4 dead. Wednesday, 15 shot at a funeral. Now let that sink in a little bit. Shot at a funeral. So you're burying someone of your loved ones, and someone is trying to kill you so you can be buried while you're trying to bury your loved ones. It's like a tongue twister, isn't it? So someone has to get a handle on this. Let that sink in. And I guarantee you it wasn't just all gangbangers at the funeral, because I'm going to tell you what, they got their own money. I grew up in the streets of California, and we're going to do our own thing. Not saying we won't chip in, but trying to put stuff together. No, there is a mother that lost a child in that building. And the dad probably isn't there because back in the 60s, early 60s, single parent homes were at 20%. Fast forward to 2020, single parent homes are at 75%. So the dad probably isn't there. Just sick. Thursday, 15 shot, 3 killed. And Friday through Saturday, 70 shot and 11 killed. It sounds like the mayor has a problem. And the mayor has a problem with the person that she sees in the mirror. And she doesn't want to deal with it. But now she's coming to grips. Another update on the Chicago mayor. She caved at the same time. I call that a double loss. You're not doing too good, Mayor. I think you probably should try a different profession. So, the mayor, you know, we have these statue pullers, and, you know, I was looking at a news clip in ABC News, and they were talking about the Chicago mayor. She orders the dismounting of the 2 Christopher Columbus statues. Now, what did Christopher Columbus do to you guys? Anybody? Think about it. After weeks of protests, the mayor, she decided to temporarily remove the statues until further notice, the article notes. And as you look at the picture, it's so sad because this is the America that I grew up in. This is the America that you grew up in. And what gives anyone the damn right to take down things that we grow and love and have grown to understand the history of, to understand the reasoning why it's there. But the main point of all of this is understanding and knowing your history. As they sit there, and the statue's probably 7-8 times bigger than a regular human being. They're wrapping them up, duct taped them up. And he's covered. Actually, it's like a KKK, to be honest with you. Or a very big ghost. And they got the cranes moving the statue. The mayor caved. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Just think, who's paying for the removal of the statue, having that equipment out there? Take a guess. You. Donald Trump was exactly right when he said, America, the people running this country are suckers. And they've been trying to sucker, and they've been suckering the American people for a very long time. And we've had it. So, Lightfoot said that all the statue murals across Chicago will be up for debate. Not just one. Not just the one of the Columbus. And she said they'll be up for debate. But wait a minute, I think the debate has already been had. The cancel culture is displayed right there. If you capitulate and you show weakness, they will come in for blood. The Italian American community feels betrayed. The mayor's office is giving into the vocal destructive minority, like I told you. And I'm going to talk about, and we're going to play a guessing game wrapped around how many people do you think that are truly informed in the United States of America? And the reason why we are now seeing and witnessing the destructive nature, not that it's a great majority of the American citizens. Don't get me wrong. But I believe that that small majority is the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. And so therefore, just like the Tin Man or the Wizard of Oz, they were coming to the rescue. And they're using as much oil as they want to in the form of billions and billions of billions of dollars. And the other end, the little magical money that's being funneled into these projects behind the curtain. Remember the man behind the curtain? Oh, don't worry about him, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most sinister one. These things are being funded by your tax dollars. You let that sink in. I am Yanni, the American's voice. Be right back. Yes, I am back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Massaging your ears with the truth. Making sure that the voice of conservative people out there in the world and in the country are being heard and giving them an opportunity to respond. Like I said earlier, you can hit me at americasheartbeat@yahoo.com. Go ahead and drop your comments and questions there, and they can be read over the air. So getting back into the mayors, and we're going to move on from here and get off into more meat into this, the topics that we have today planned. And so it's good. But the mayor of Portland, Wheeler, you know, he's a tough guy, right? Spreading defamatory lies about what's really going on down there in Portland. And, you know, this is where what we call the bizarro world. We have two different stories, two portrayals. We have the nightly news that are right there locally. They're reporting like they see it with some bias, of course. Then you have the national news, depending what bent they are, is going to let you know what they want to expose you to. But if it's the agenda of taking down America, take down America, they will be sure to play what they want your lying eyes to see. So the mayor, and he hasn't been yet, as of this point, from what I know, he gets gassed. And he's out there with the protesters and, he's out there with the rioters and looters and arsonists. And I was looking at the video clips, and in the background in the video clips, I BS you guys not, if BS is a good analogy, but they got pictures of him there, and as you're playing the video and looking at the video, graffiti, trash, smoke. Man, I lived there. It's one of my homes, right? And it is so tragic. I feel so bad on one hand for the men and women that live in Portland, but on the other hand, I don't feel bad for them because the whole time I was living there, and I'm going to speak in the defense of you seniors in a second, but the whole time that I lived in Portland, Oregon, or Multnomah County seemed to be more liberal. The whole time I lived out there, though, that were liberal or very left-leaning, they would get elected again and again and again and again. And it just blew my mind. And because when I first moved there, when I first experienced the Pacific Northwest, which is still some of the most beautiful parts of the country, God's country is what they called it. And as you're driving up the 5 freeway there, you see these big, beautiful trees. I mean, hundreds of feet in the air, just huge in the history. And for it to be so beautiful like that, it's sad in that small pocket of area in that Oregon state. Most of the demographic and the voting pool came from that small area of Portland or the surrounding areas. You go out to the suburban areas of Portland, flaming red. And then you go into the city, it's blue, dark blue. And I looked at the tug of war and people on the outside, the outskirts of the city, they believed in law and order. And some inside the city. But I look at it and it looks like RoboCop. Doonch, doonch, doonch. Hear him coming down the street. I guarantee you those rioters and arsonists, they'll start running real quick, right? And I watched RoboCop, like I said, and boy, he was breaking those guys off. He was giving them a piece of his mind. I'm going to show you what you did to me. You guys are going to pay. But I'm going to play a little bit of this clip here. And then I'm going to explain what I see. And you can go on and check it out, APN News, apnews.com. And you make your own judgments what you see. It looks like a war-torn third world country. Clip one.
I actually want to see this. Put those goggles on.
So he's standing there, and the guy's trying to give him goggles. He's like, put the goggles on. He's like, I actually want to see it. Put the goggles on, bro. And he looks like he's kind of disoriented just a little bit. But you're going to hear him choking and wheezing in just a second here as he gets hit with the tear gas. Continue.
That's the thing that's shooting at the mayor of Portland. What are you going to do? Nothing. That's you.
And I just don't understand. He's still standing there till the end of this clip here. And he puts on his goggles at the end. The guy's screaming, you know, it's the mayor of Portland. Then he goes and gets embarrassed. They tell him to resign. That's a good one for you, right? Go home. And now the very man that's enabled this behavior and this activity, your own that you think is your own, they're owning you. And they turn on you. And now you're looking like the dummy. So dumb. But that's who we have running our country, ladies and gentlemen. And so he put himself in that position. He put himself in that position. But I do feel for the people of Portland. But on to other things. Joe Biden, last week he talked about his New Deal. A little over a week ago, the 100+ plan was revealed or unveiled to the world. And it had Bernie Sanders written all over it. Every time I hear Bernie Sanders, I think about a bucket of chicken. Colonel Sanders, Bernie Sanders, all the same to me. In fact, I thought it was a chicken man. I probably thought it was his brother that was going to take over his company. And come to find out he was a politician with a weird accent. I'll get him next time. You know, like a Seinfeld character. Fantastic. But his radical Green Deal, guys, it doesn't matter how many ways they try to dress this up. It is not good for the American people. It is not good for you. It's not good for our children. And we have to think about these things long and hard. Wanting to remove and delete all fossil fuels, and you're just off the grid, like gone. And we have electric airplanes and electric cars and electric boats and electric appliances that are talking to you, seeing how many eggs you have in there and trying to recommend more, looking at what type of food you have. And I understand you guys want to move into the future. Look, you activists for this movement here, I know you want to move into the future, and that's fine. But you can move into the future by yourself. A vast, great percentage of Americans don't want to go there with you. I don't. And most people don't either. So Joe Biden's economical deal, his radical deal, the Green Plan economy killer. You know, I say, look, this is how people who love to do what's right over politics. And this is the problem with politics getting in everything. Give the American citizen the liberty to do both. Why can't we do both? As you can see, the ingenuity of brilliant minds, Elon Musk, and you have Honda electric cars, you have Toyota electric cars, you have, you know, the Tesla is just the thing, but so many other cars that are using that technology are coming and advancing along. But you notice the coal, the oil, the crude oil group never ever said, no, it's just our way or the highway. You can only do what we say do on this side. No, we don't need electric. You know, gas is the only way to go. Fracking, refined gas and oil. Nah, I don't think so. No, we didn't say that. We welcomed other ideas. Other ideas should be welcomed in the argument of American society to where we grow with each other and we develop and we kick the crap out of the rest of the world. No offense to other countries, but America first right here. I'm at bat and I'm going to hold my own here in our country. But give the people, shouldn't the people have the option to choose? No, it's a power grab. People are power hungry. And that's why politicians, the term limits that we talk about, everyone talks, they talk a good game. They talking, but ain't nobody moving. Kind of like that ceiling fan, right? You see it just swirling around, but ain't nothing coming out. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. John Dahlberg, Acton. And so the reason why this is important with the Green Deal, fossil fuels versus green energy, giving people the ability and the choice, the liberties and the freedom to choose. That's what this country was built on, correct? The freedom to choose, the freedom to practice your religion, the freedom to be a voice alone, even if it's a lone voice on the top of a hill, a freedom to be opposed but not destroyed for your views. I mean, that's what I'm thinking out there, guys. That's what I'm believing. But the world is spinning so quickly at an amazing rate. The mindset that understands politics and that's tuned versus the mindset that does not understand how politics works. Just living their life every single day, let the world pass by. I want to ask a question, and we're going to pick it up on the other side. 1, why is it important to be informed when you vote? Huh? Why do you think it's important? 2, should the uninformed people be recommended to take a test? I'm just asking the question. Should they be recommended to take a test before they vote? Because I'm going to tell you what, our history has been stolen from us. We've been betrayed by the school system, and it's everywhere. It's called leftism. It's called Marxism. And if we don't think that it can overtake a country as great as ours, you better think again. So those questions I want you to think about what a world would look like if those things were to happen. See you on the other side of the break. The American's Voice and Yanni, we're tuning it up. Let's go. Questions to a test. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. So awesome to have you guys along on this journey using minds that sharpen one another as iron sharpens iron. I am your cyber host, and we are going on a journey for sure. But on the other side, we were talking about, should questions be given on, or a test given before a person votes? I mean, I think it's a great question to ask, because the uninformed versus the informed will determine, and it does determine, what this country, and not just the United States of America, but what any country looks like. It does. Philosophy, history, and culture. Border, language, and culture. You notice culture showed up in both of those. Philosophy. How do you think? What's your worldview of America? See, I said, what's your worldview? Because some people will never leave the United States of America. They will be here all their life. So this is their world. What is your worldview of America? What's your philosophy? What are your beliefs? Do you believe it's the greatest country in the world? Your philosophy is going to shape how you vote at the ballot box. History. Are you holding on to the history, our roots that's been taught? The pure things, the bad things, the ups, the downs, all the history accumulates into who we are today. People ask me, if you can go back and change things, Yanni, would you change anything about your life? And I was younger and naive and not thinking correctly. I would say, oh yeah, I would change this, I would change that, I would do this, I would do that. And a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, it was wrapped around a girl or something like that, or made a stupid mistake. But if you ask me today, the answer will be no, but emphatically no. So if I had 10 questions, and these are just things I'm going to throw out there, guys. I want you guys to think about it. I would say something like this if we had a test, and you guys can probably formulate your own test. If you want to send me an email on the test questions with the test questions, I'd love to hear them. 1, if you have an opportunity to serve in the military, will you? 2, do you believe in larger government or smaller government? 3, do you believe that free speech, either way, should be free and open in the United States? No repercussions, no one trying to damage your brand or boycott you. Do you believe that free speech, in either way, it goes to the left or to the right? See, I told you guys I'm fair. Will be open in the United States, free and open. 4, do you agree that everyone should speak English? I'm a fan. 5, do you believe that assimilation is necessary to create a productive society? Culture. 6, should we put a freeze on immigration for a time to allow the country to assimilate all its immigrants, his new families into this country? See, guys, people sit and say, the misnomer, they sit and say, well, this nation we're a nation of immigrants. No, we're a nation of citizens who were once immigrants, but we became citizens. Okay? Let's not distort the language. And that's how we've been able to get all these laws passed that makes most of you Americans uncomfortable, because we're bending over backwards. We're placating, giving lots of praise and platitudes to people who have not earned the respect and the honor to say that I'm a United States citizen. Number 8, do you believe that we have deep-rooted hatred and racism in this country for blacks or any minority? Hear me again. Number 8, do you believe we still have deep-rooted hatred and racism in this country for blacks or any minority? Okay? I want to know, what's your view? Do you believe that we're a racist country? And if you do believe we're a racist country, why are you coming here? Why are you breaking the laws, swimming across oceans, coming across borders into this country? That's a question. What are those things that make you say, Number 9, do you believe everyone in America has the right to practice their religion freely? That's a good one. And believe me, the president has done more than I've seen any president in modern history with the religious community. Protecting Christians, which I believe is a noble thing to do. 10, do you believe in the Second Amendment and the Americans' right to carry their sidearm? And that's just 10 questions that I would just throw out there. Just kind of like that. And you guys can make up your own. I'd love to hear them. But it does come down to philosophy, history, and your culture. Okay? Language, borders, and culture. If we don't have those things, it's what holds the country. It holds us together. And I want to bring both sides together, but I'm going to refute and silence the garbage of those out there who are negative, that are not moving forward and helping this country be in a position to be the best. So I love to play a guessing game from time to time. Can you guess how many people that are probably truly informed? I mean, can you guess that? Think about that for a second. How many people do you really think that are informed to where if they go to a voting booth, and this comes back to voting, and why Biden is a dangerous candidate for anyone. We're playing Russian roulette. And we have that little snub nose there. Don't need much pressure to kill a man. And the Democrat Party, which have been hijacked. So the Bernie of Sanders, I want chicken. They point the gun at themselves, which they click. Then you turn around. They say, hey, look at that over there. They throw a bullet in there, load a bullet in the chamber. And then they point the gun at you and they say, are you ready to play? How many people are truly informed of what's going on in the world, in their cities, in their communities? Or a lot of people, are they just living their life? I submit to you, from what I'm about to say, it's probably what I just said. Those probably just living their life. So let's just say if in this guessing game, there was 2% of the people that were truly informed. Okay? Truly informed. And let's just say people that are kind of informed, you know, some of the independents out there, let's say it's about 21%. Okay? The people that are, you know, kind of informed. Do you know the percentage of the, you know, of the people out there that are causing ruckus, that are the squeaky wheels, that are getting that big old giant tub of lard, getting the grease, getting the money, getting funding? I believe in studies and statistics will show you it's the 80-20 rule, Pareto's law. The percentage of those who are stirring up the drama out there, the ruckus starters, were about 2%. The rest of those are, you know, and the rest of, you know, Democrat or, you know, leaning, left leaning, you know, those guys out there, the Democrats, are about 19.65%. And the rest don't even vote. And I kind of got that calculation, you know, 330 million people, roughly, you know, 68 million people, I believe it was, voted for Trump, you know, 65 million voted for Hillary Clinton. And you look how close this number is. If that number is anywhere close, they're right on our heels. And I say that to say this, we have to crush them. Because if you guys love hamburgers and hot dogs, and America as we are, or as we were, quickly transforming, movies and shakes, drive-ins, and enjoying yourself at the beach, vote for Donald J. Trump. Because Biden will have you in the poorhouse. Believe that, ladies and gentlemen. So we know there's people out there that are not informed or not voting or kind of informed. It's our responsibility to get out there and get them informed. This is the formula. Implementation and education. Not arguing and yelling. It doesn't get you anywhere, but with a headache. You know, and this is the evidence, the explicit evidence. A picture that I just painted is the reality that the educational system has took a turn for the worse. It took 2 generations, took control of those school of people, those school of thoughts, those young minds. And it's so funny because as I was growing up in this country, those people, these things, these doctrines, these indoctrinations were being taught to our children. And here's the problem. They're human beings. They have a right to free speech, but they're controlling the most powerful levers in this country. And that's why you see the stuff we see in the streets. The media, academia, is totally controlling all these things. Day in and day out. Statues, they rage and tear them down. They're peppered all over the United States of America. And we have leaders, so-called leaders. I call them losers. They're not leading anyone. If you've seen them walking up a hill or up a cliff or down the street, I'm leading everybody. No, you're taking a walk is what you're doing. Because as you betrayed the American people and people that you represent, you took an oath. You turned your back. The history of those statues, the meanings, it was never taught. And dovetailing off into that, last segment, we're going to get off into school choice. Thank you so much for joining me here on The America's Voice. No spin, unhinged, yada yada. Be right back. Thank you for tuning in to your favorite cyber host in the world, Yanni, and very, very actively moving and excited to talk about this topic of school choice. It's so important for all our children as we have this battlefront happening right before our eyes, play out in real time right before our eyes. And that front is the choice for people to send their children back to school or not. And that's a big deal. That is a deep, deep subject. That is a subject of much volume, a subject of much verb, a subject that needs attention. Now, I was discussing with my wife earlier yesterday, and we were talking about the things that children need, special programs for special needs kids, the interaction, the friends, the friendship, the special programs that of teaching, special ed students, them getting meals, 2 meals a day, breakfast and lunch, and the help also with the parents being able to go to work and live their life to where we can have this economy humming. See, Economics 101 will teach you that in order for a country or something to function, there has to be activity. You can't get activity hiding under your desk. You can't get activity with everything being shut down. It is time for us to face this pandemic for what it is. Face it right in its face and stare it down, because we are a great country. But school choice, the Cato Institute had an article, and it said 2020 Democrats are school choice hypocrites. And of course, we already knew that. The only people that don't seem to know that is the media. They don't know that they are hypocrites. In fact, hold on, they do know. They just don't want you to know. Okay? That's how that works. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Unless you're talking about the 2020 Democratic presidential candidates and education policy. The majority of the runners either attended private schools themselves or sent their own children to private schools. Yet they're fighting hard against programs that would grant similar options to the less fortunate. Here's the latest school choice hypocrisy. For starters, Senator Elizabeth Warren recently released an education plan that is radically anti-choice. And this is what we've been fighting against, guys. Anti-choice policies. It's amazing that they're pro this, pro that, pro-abortion until it's time for them to shut off the spouts or something that's not going to be part of, in their array or the conglomerate of their programs that they support. So hypocritical. But when it comes to school choice, I'm anti. The anti sign comes up. You see it in the Senate. You see it in the Congress. You even see it in our federal courts. You see it in the Supreme Court. Oh, yeah. Bias. And once bias gets in the way, it dilutes the truth. And the truth, after a while, after the delusion process continues, it becomes a lie. Then you see them spouting off the principles of the lie. They can spout them with such accuracy and verb and power and impact. But everything they're saying is a lie. I call them Kool-Aid drinkers. Big old giant cup. Everybody's running around, smiling, you know what I'm saying? Chuck Schumer, all of them, they're drinking it. But it was anti-choice and would ban many high-quality charter schools, end federal funding for charter schools, and make it even more difficult to open new charter schools. She also calls for the end of private school choice programs that are overwhelmingly serve low-income families, people that look like me, people that look like you. Stand in front of the mirror. But for the most part, minorities, that vote that they're constantly clawing, trying to get, it's amazing what they'll do. But about a month ago, it was uncovered that Warren's son, Alex, also was sent to a private school, starting in the 5th grade when she was teaching at the University of Texas, Austin. Then cell phone footage shows the senator lied about the African-American woman moments after giving a speech about the rights of black women before her campaign finally admitted Warren's son attended private school. So if her son attended private school, why are you blocking my son, your son? Just hypocritical. And so these kids have to have a choice, because many, many more like Warren and Biden, they're all in the same camp. They're all working together. They're conspiring to still, even to this day, unseat a duly elected president. All politics aside, Donald J. Trump is a human being. And if I would imagine or assume that if you were in that position of the president, you'd want the same respect. So he's fighting to have these schools opened up. The children need the interaction. The children need other kids to talk to. And so many children are being abused. That is a conduit for them to escape. That is a conduit for them to speak out. Have to give them that avenue. Have to. The process of suffocation and suppression, the lack of choices. Children are stuck in an educational prison, which is stripped of our history and indoctrination. It is a mill for them to be taught, to mold their thinking, to change the way that they view the United States of America, stripping their history, forming their philosophy, dictating the culture, stripped of our values and common sense from your fellow man. They are robbing our children. And I thank God that this stuff has reared its head now, because we can now get a hold and a handle on it. And help everyone get a hold and handle on their kids. Don't doubt me, guys. I predict a whole lot more people are going to be homeschooling their children, which me and my wife are fans. We homeschool our children as well. And our son will be homeschooled as well. But let's not render disservice to our children. Let's fight for them to have a good education. Let's fight for them to have a choice where they want to go to school. These are important things, aren't they? Let's move on and talk about the president. You know, this position it's a beautiful position. It's a position that it's a very, very hard job. And, you know, the president was talking about the cognitive test that he had earlier this week. And you have CNN going and attempting to make fun of the cognitive test. And I'm going to play you a clip here of Don the Lemon on his show on CNN just a few days ago. And I want you to check out what happened as he attempted to take the cognitive test and flunked big time. This is an epic fail of mega proportions, and they are good for entertainment all the time. I love looking at CNN so I can get a good laugh. Cut 2.
When do you take that? That looks like something for middle school.
Well, you take that when usually, listen, I'm not a doctor, and I'm going to let Dr. Reiner explain it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But usually when there is some issue or some concern about, your cognitive abilities. So
what were the animal shapes?
Well, it's a lion, a hippo, and a camel.
Isn't that a rhino in the middle?
A rhino.
You don't even know a hippo from a
Sorry,
rhino. You got no acuity, son. You got no
I'm looking at
acuity.
it backwards. I'm looking at it backwards.
What does it mean if you don't know an elephant from a rhino?
An elephant.
Hilarious. Isn't that funny? He's on live TV saying, you got low acuity, son. You got low acuity. So funny. And as soon as he holds the picture up, he sees the picture and he calls it what it is. And Don the Lemon is looking down at the picture right there in front of him, and he calls it the wrong animal. So all the making fun of the president blows up in their face. Now, I watched on Tucker Carlson's show what the president was saying and what consisted of the test. And they say some of the test questions are pretty difficult. But I heard the president, and it was a couple of minutes he's going back and forth, and the sharpness. And as I'm looking at the video, I'm like, there's no way Joe Biden can do this. There is no way he can do this. Last Sunday, the president sat down with Chris Wallace, which he denied it in the Baking Sun, but he's biased. You can tell he leans, more of the Democratic way, and the president, the Democratic way. But the president called him on it, and he vehemently denied it. But hey, that's his choice. But at times, Chris can be tough on just about everybody, and he's given requests for Joe Biden to sit down and interview with him, and he has not heard back from him. And Chris Wallace said he's going to start to press him on that. But he was talking to Chris Wallace last Sunday, and the interview was very heated. I haven't talked about this, but Trump was talking about the questions that are asked on the cognitive test, and I just thought that it was good and solid the way that he explained it. And I was like, Joe Biden, there's no way he can do this. Cut 3.
He said there actually is, and he named it, whatever it might be. And it was 30 or 35 questions. The first questions are very easy. The last questions are much more difficult. Like a memory question, it's like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV. So they say, could you repeat that? So I said, yeah. So it's person, woman, man, camera, TV. Okay, that's very good. If you get it in order, you get extra points. Okay, now he's asking you other questions, and then 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question? Give us that again. Can you do that again? And you go person, woman, man, camera, TV. If you get it in order, you get extra points. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
It was easy. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a thing that I notice a lot of people don't want to give the president credit for. His accomplishments. And one day soon here, we're going to talk about his accomplishments, and we're going to name them off and wonder why he's always touting his records and what he's done. But all this drama, the lies, no firsthand witnesses, these things were an affront to the president. A couple of things they've called him racist. So if he's a racist, that means you're a racist too. From the day that he came down the escalator, with that famous speech about the Mexicans and the Mexico border and the countries sending over killers and rapists and murderers. And one thing everyone wants to leave out as they clip the footage, you got all types of clips, probably all in their house, falling off the door jamb. It's the part when he says, and some are good people. Trump has a way that he talks. And I clearly heard what he said. They twist his words like pretzels. And for 3.5 years, now he's a racist. He's been a racist up until the comments and statements Joe Biden made last week. So that means 68 million people that voted for him, they're racist too. How about black on black crimes? Are blacks racist? Killing each other? The killing field, the plantation we profess to have escaped, we're still there. We say we've escaped the white slave owner, but we have not escaped from the plantation of black on black violence. And the BLM movement, what a fraud of a movement. I'm going to tell you white people. Can I talk to you white people for a second? Let me break it down for you guys, okay? White people, we do not need you to save us. And no, I'm not a racist. No, I'm not a bigot. In fact, I've probably met more black bigots than I have white bigots. But we don't need you to save us. I say this because you look at the rioting out there in our country's neighborhoods. People tearing things up, attempting to dismantle and tear at the fabric of our very being. Remove all of our history. 1,000% white watt light bulb white people dominating these so-called protests that have been hijacked. 7% studies show now are black. So no offense, Becky. No offense, Amber. No offense, Heather. Or any other Snow White, Lily White person out there that is not contributing to the society, but is part of the problem. Fighting for blacks' rights. You weren't nowhere fighting nowhere before George Floyd died. You're probably somewhere in your your cubicle, being a social justice warrior. I call you guys the woke insulting culture, to where you guys are saying things degrading even a president. The Trump virus. You know, last week, I think it was the 21st, Mark Levin mentioned turning the table on these jokers with their vile, unacceptable, highly detestable names that they throw out there. They throw them out there like lifesavers. Hey, take this one, take that one. I think it's time that us conservatives and people that love our country take a whack at it. Nancy Pelosi calling our president the Trump virus. Well, let me take a whack. How about, Mom? Hey, Mom, I got a Schumer on my back. I just got out the shower, and I just can't remove this Pelosi. It stinks. Hey, Doc, I seem to have a Schumer growing off out of my big toe. Yeah, right there next to the wild hairs, you know. And while we're on giving names or shooting names out there, because up until this present time, up until someone like Trump came and started pushing back against the establishment, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you here, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whether you're a conservative, he came and he started fighting for all of you guys, which we had the intelligence system and the whole cabal of people attempting to unseat him. And so since we're throwing out names, how about we throw a Democrat name change out there too? You know, since slavery is in your roots, the Jim Crow laws and all that stuff like that. Those who fought against slavery, Democrat. The one who killed Lincoln, Democrat. Or of Democrat heritage, so to speak. The Democratic Party, they're now, let's call them leftocrats. Or the Leftocratic Party. Because they left all the Democrats somewhere else. We'll call them leftocrats. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? And while we're still talking about name changes, how about the sports leagues and their titles? The Washington football team, are you kidding me? You guys are so darn woke, you're losing your identity. Like the woke BA, the NBA, which I'm not watching. How about the woke FL? The woke LB? You guys are all woke. Wokeness is everywhere. It's in our news stations. It's in our schools. It's in our arenas, our sports arenas. It's in Hollywood. It's in mega food companies like Uncle Ben's Rice. I want some Uncle Ben's rice, Paul. Hey, sir, can I get some rice? Mrs. Butterworth's, Aunt Jemima, Land of Lakes, Eskimo pies. When does it stop? You have to ask yourself that question. When does it stop? The plan to uproot this society will never happen at my hands. And as you guys can see, despite of how you feel about the man in the White House, orange man bad, right? I believe he is the only thing that's standing between us and tyranny. And so I will be on the front lines. Once again, make sure you guys check out Mark Levin's show tonight, Life, Liberty, and Levin with Stanley Kurtz. He will be hosting him. And also, if you have any questions or comments, hit me at americasheartbeat@yahoo.com. And you can find me over at America's Heartbeat at Twitter over there. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. And you guys have a prosperous, wonderful, extraordinary week. Yanni Yan here, tuning out and signing out on America's Voice and Yanni. See you guys next week.